This video is on how to find the templates for battle plans that are to be written on Monday. I'm going to open up a new screen. We're going to make sure we're logged into the correct account. It's going to be this green one right here. You're going to open up the apps. We're going to go down here to Drive. Alright, so this last week, I'm just going to use this last week as an example. We were at normal for our condition. So we're going to open up the battle plans and conditions. We're going to go down here, we're going to select the normal condition. We're going to right click on it and we're going to do make a copy. So we've opened it, a preview. Now we're going to actually open it so we can start making changes to it. And we're going to select Google Docs. It's going to open up in a new window. First thing we're going to do is rename this Shop because it's going to be for the overall shop. We can do individual battle plans for each department, sales or service, but this one is going to be, or the executive or even the manager. But at this point in time, we're just going to do overall shop, and then we're going to put the day. And we're going to use Monday's date. Then down here, we're going to put in the date where the plan is actually being written. The department that we're creating the plan for, which is once again overall shop, and then you put your name. This first section here, routine or gradual increase of stats. You're going to tab in to create subsets, and you're going to list out all of the statistics that have a routine or gradual increase on the manager stats that you printed out. So we might have average repair order, gross sales, gross income. We're just going to write out all the ones that have a routine or gradual increase in stats. So basically all of the graphs that you marked as either normal or affluence. After we've completed all that, we're going to go down here. Once again, tab in to create subsets, and we're going to list out all the successful actions that we did in that past week that helped contribute to these statistics right here, either being normal or affluence. So we're going to write everything that we did successfully. This week we did training on Tuesdays for service advisors on how to deal with difficult customers. As you can see up here, we had a routine increase in our ARO, which obviously led to an increase in gross sales or gross income. And maybe they had some difficult customers that week that they were able to sell and deal with given the training that we did on Tuesdays. So you're basically just going to list out all the things. I don't care how small it is or how small you think it is. I still want it listed on here because even the smallest actions still contribute to the overall success and continuing upward trend for the shop. Once you get done with that, we're going to move on to number 3. Once again, tab in to create a subset. We're going to list out some of the problems that we might be having or some situations that might have occurred during the week. Maybe we had an upset customer because their estimate was not reviewed with them properly when they dropped their vehicle off and they came to pick up and the total was different. Or maybe we have an employee that is shown up twice late to work. So we're just going to list these out and we're going to decide which ones we're going to handle and then which ones that we're not going to handle. Maybe we're just going to keep an eye on it. the ones that we're going to choose to handle, we're going to handle them in this particular case mildly to prevent a moral decline, because morale, if it declines in the shop, then people start performing as well, which can lead to a decline in our performance. Once we've listed those out, you guessed it, we're going on to the next one. Subset in. We're going to list out, we're going to identify and list out each action that caused each upward trending statistic to better. So some of these are going to overlap with actions that we listed out in step number 2. That's okay. So for example, something that would overlap, training on Tuesdays on how to deal with difficult customers, which led to an increase in our average repair order. We can list that out. That's not a problem. It's best to and you can group statistics together. So say we had an increase in gross sales because of an increase in ARO. You can list out those statistics together and then put the reason for all of them. Every time statistics worsens, which is step number 5, this is perhaps one of the most important, looks we got a typo here. This is perhaps one of the most important steps, because it's important to figure out what we did right and repeat it, but it's also equally important to figure out what we did wrong and learn how to fix it or not repeat it. So maybe to reference back to step number 3, where we talked about maybe a customer's upset because they came in and the total wasn't what they thought it was going to be. Maybe we are going to, so it led to a decrease in our customer service, our customer satisfaction index. So, we're going to list out our customer satisfaction index as a statistic that is downward trending. Then we're going to identify the cause for it and then develop a plan to fix it. So this is kind of a 3-step process. We're going to write CSI, downward trending, customer upset, as estimate was not given beforehand. To remedy this, we are going to go over the intake vehicle procedure with the front counter, which clearly outlines going over the estimate of the customer before they leave, and drill on the procedure with the front counter. So we list out the statistics that was downward trending, we listed out the cause for it, and then we're going to go over the remedy for the situation. Once you get done with that, you're going to go on to the next page. And list out targets for yourself. So these are things that need to be accomplished during the week. So say we need to finish parts returns. You're going to list that as well as the date that it needs to be performed by. If there's any subsets to that need to be completed, call Pacific Alaska. To remind of needed pickup. Then we're going to complete clean up of parts area, break down cardboard boxes, finish inventory. And then the date that these individual actions need to be completed. Remember not to overload yourself too much. I mean, kind of hit the most important things. Anything that is not completed on here will get transferred over to next week's battle plans. The important thing to remember about battle plans is to, well, first of all, do them Mondays, and so that way they can be used for our meetings. but also to make sure that when it doesn't matter if it's the normal battle plan, emergency, danger, it doesn't really matter. What you're just going to do is you're going to follow the instructions for each individual step. You're just going to fill in the blanks just like we did with the normal battle plan. And then the most important thing to remember, besides of course doing them routinely, is to actually complete them. So after these have been completed, you and I discuss them in our manager meeting on Mondays. Step number one, you're going to go through these steps and you're going to complete them in order. There's really nothing to complete with step number one on the normal battle plan. All we do is list them out. But then we're going to go to step number two, and we're going to make sure that all these successful actions that were successful for the week prior are being carried over into this week. So this means that we're going to make sure that we have our training session on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. We're going to make sure that the service advisors are going over the vehicle intake procedure with every customer and intaking the vehicle correctly. We're going to make sure that everything that we did this last week is carried over into the next week. Then we're going to go on to step number three. Any issues that we have to handle in here, we're going to handle them, but we're going to do it mildly. So this is literally not just a plan, but it's something that you do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in order to take the shop to the next condition, or at least maintain a normal or affluent condition. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for listening.